Good evening, welcome to Central News for Friday the 23rd of August. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, Hamilton West Primary decided to encourage students and parents to use other forms of transport when arriving and leaving from school. Day Without Cars, the City Council's initiative, proved to be a success as students joined walking school buses and learnt about road and traffic safety. Many of the students had always been dropped off or picked up directly from school, so the opportunity came as a chance for students to explore alternatives and learn how to be safe when walking to and from school. Members from the Council's Active and Safe Transport team also came on board to offer their guidance and support. Hamilton City Councillor Martin Gallagher says the day was not a new concept, but rather an attempt to return to basics and remind students that walking can be enjoyable.
Well, actually, the Carless Day went back to the days of the Robert Muldoon government during the big oil shock of the early 70s, whereby we had to name one day and put a sticker on our car where we couldn't use a car for that day. Obviously, Carless Days now, in the 21st century, is all about a sustainable transport system. And what it means is instead of just using our cars to go to and from school or even around the city every day, there are other sustainable alternatives like walking to school, like cycling to school, like using the city's improving public transport system. It doesn't mean to say you're not going to use your car. Of course you're going to use your car, but to explore with the kids the other alternatives of getting to school. And very interesting, the stat I've got for this school, 68% of kids at this school apparently had never used a bus before they experienced the Carless Day, and then with their teachers got on the bus and really found that was a really good way to get around the city and also a potentially good way to get to school, along with, of course, walking and cycling.
Buses now get a head start on cars at a busy Hamilton intersection as Hamilton City Council takes advantage of the latest traffic light technology. Super sensitive road sensors can detect the presence of a bus at the Bridge Street-Victoria Street intersection and give it a head start if it's going straight ahead over the river. At Bridge Street, a new white B symbol for buses glows to signal the bus drivers that they can go straight ahead through the intersection. Similar technology is being installed where Chartwell's Linden Court meets Hukanui Road. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, your Saturday will have showers and a northerly developing. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 7. Saturday for you, Tauranga will have cloud increasing and northerlies developing. Your expected high is 17 and an overnight low of 9. Hamilton, Sunday will be raining, but they will ease to showers as the day goes on, with an easterly developing. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 6. Rain developing and a chance of a heavy downpour for your Sunday, Tauranga, with a developing northerly. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 8. Just ahead, bowling for medals. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. Sue Curran and Christine Foster are members of the Blind Jacks bowling team. They have recently competed at the World Championships in Worthing, England. Sue is guided by Christine and able to achieve incredible results as a result of their partnership. We catch up with the ladies to find out just how they did it.
So Christine, how did you go at the World Blind Bowls Championships?
We went better than expectations. Everybody said before we left, you know, you're in for the medal count, but I wondered, not doubting whether Sue was going to be able to do it or not. And then we came home with a silver in the B4 ladies singles and a bronze in the B4 mixed pairs, which was really, really good. Out-expected my expectations.
How has your success been received by friends and family?
It's been tremendous. We've had a lot of support, a lot of encouragement from everybody, and they're very, very proud of what we've achieved. And I think we've probably surprised and shocked a lot of them. But it's been wonderful, very well accepted.
So how exactly do you work together to achieve this kind of success?
We work as a team. We are part of a whole team, the Blind Jacks team, but we also work together as a team, as a pair. I will tell Sue how far the jack's gone down the green and how wide to take the green, and then Sue sends the ball down the green. And it's all a matter of fixing the stance and Sue's delivery as well.
What excited you the most about taking part in this championship?
I think actually putting on the New Zealand uniform and actually becoming part of a New Zealand team going abroad. It was just something, you know, you get to a certain age, you never think these sort of things are going to come your way, but we had the opportunity, we took it, and very, very proud to be wearing and representing New Zealand, so it was amazing.
And what did you have to do to qualify?
A lot of practice. Sue and I put in about 2 to 3 days of about an hour and a half, 2 hours a week down at the local bowling club. We had 3 training camps up at Pakuranga, sorry about that, and they kept a bowling green specially aside for us and running at the greens, speed of the greens that we were expecting over in England. So lots of practice, lots of other inter-club tournaments and club tournaments.
How did you both prepare or train for the championship?
Well, as Christine said, a lot of it's been a lot of practice together, and we talk a lot. We discuss what we're going to do, how we're going to attack a particular end and that sort of thing. Christine points out exactly where things are, but we've also put a lot of fitness into it. It's come into account with a lot of gym work, a lot of walking, because we know we've got to be on our feet for 7 hours a day, 3.5 hour games, 7 hours a day. So it's been a lot of fitness, a lot of practice together, and sort of fitness apart and that sort of thing. So yes, a lot of preparation in the background going on for these things.
And did anyone help you in the funding of the trip, or did you sort of have to do it for yourself?
We had various organisations give us funding. Our Hamilton Cosmopolitan Bowling Club did a fundraising day for us, and there was several other fundraising days down at Pairai and Auckland and Rotorua, and we've got funding from some major businesses, which is really good.
So how did you both get into this kind of bowling?
I got into bowling myself when my vision started to deteriorate. About 6 years ago, I joined indoor bowls with the blind, and a couple of years ago I was persuaded to play lawn bowls. And once I'd started playing lawn bowls, after a couple of games I entered into the nationals in New Zealand, and with Christine, and reasonably successful in those, then found ourselves in the development squad for the Blind Jacks. So it's been just sort of ongoing from there, but yes, talking to people and knowing it was a sport that I could play and enjoy with the vision problem. It is a sport that can be played by blind people. So.
And how did you get into it, Christine?
I've been bowling indoor and outdoor for about 10 years. I decided to take it up as a sport, as an interest. My father-in-law, one of my grandfathers also played bowls years ago. How I got involved with the Blindies? Well, I got persuaded by a very dear friend to come and help as a director coach, and I've been doing that for about 7 years. I thoroughly enjoy it because I can see the enjoyment that the blind and vision impaired people get out of it.
How can others get involved in this kind of bowling?
Especially for the vision impaired or blind, by approaching probably the RNZFB, the Royal Foundation of the Blind, and also most towns, big cities, have a blind foundation office or something, making contact through that, or word of mouth, contacting some of the local clubs, because they're always quite receptive to blind and vision impaired people. But probably initially Blind Sport on their website too, New Zealand Blind Sport, very, very helpful, and have the contact names and numbers.
So when is the next World Championship, and do you both hope to compete?
We hope to attend if we can qualify, and that will be in South Africa in 2017. At this point in time, we don't know which city it's in, but we do know it's South Africa.
Great.
Yes. Possibly, they're talking Johannesburg, possibly Cape Town, so we'll just have to wait and see what's decided.
To get involved with bowling, visit your local club or the New Zealand Blind Bowling website. Coming up, we talk tourism with the Prime Minister. Welcome back. Tonight is the last part of our interviews with the Prime Minister. If you want to view any of the other interviews we have shown with the Prime Minister, you can do so on our website, tvcentral.co.nz. Tonight, though, we talk tourism and the Fonterra botulism saga. As the Minister of Tourism, what rescue work do you think you have to do to protect that 100% pure image in the wake of the Fonterra botulism saga?
There will always be people that take an opportunity to push their own barrow on the back of somebody else's misfortune. So the people that attack 100% pure, and it's not new by the way, it's not just because of the Fonterra scandal, they've been doing that for quite some time. They're generally speaking environmentalists who think that the government's not doing enough, okay, around water quality, air quality, whatever it might be. I would say this government's got a really good record in those areas. So we're spending 5 times what the previous Labor government spent on water quality, for instance. We're seeing improvements in a number of areas. But someone like Mike Joy, who's at the Waikato, I think it's at Waikato University, he uses 100% pure and tries to beat the government over the head with it because he's got his own agenda. Fair enough. But is he right? I mean, 100% pure is a marketing campaign. It's like saying BMW is the ultimate driving machine. Well, actually, Mercedes might have a view about whether it's the ultimate driving machine, but it doesn't stop BMW using that slogan. You know, McDonald's use "I'm loving it." Well, some nights when you're eating it, you might be loving it, and other nights you might be just thinking, "Thank God I'm getting something to eat because I'm a little bit hungry and in a hurry." So, you know, the bottom line is people have got to be a little bit sensible and not too precious about a marketing campaign because, look, when the first Maori came to New Zealand and started burning fires to keep warm, by definition, it wasn't 100% pure. So personally, you know, the tourism industry and that slogan and that marketing campaign has been the envy of Australia and lots of other parts around the world who have changed their slogan numerous times. And there'll always be people who try and stop us. I have to laugh when I see the Daily Mail having a go, because from memory, the Daily Mail and the British tabloids also want to stop us doing the haka when the All Blacks go out and run on the pitch at Twickenham, and we won't be doing that either.
What are you doing to encourage more tourism into the Bay of Plenty? I mean, it's a real developing tourism mecca.
Really just pointing out what's fantastic here for a start off, because there's just so much in the Bay which is, you know, people would want to come to. That's the first thing. Second thing, making sure that they're supported. You know, essentially, it's really important that there's, you know, ultra-fast broadband, for instance, so tourists can, you know, use their, you know, Facebook or whatever, put their pictures up or whatever it might be. Thirdly, making sure that they're safe and well supported. So, you know, we try and do a lot through our marketing campaign so people know where to go. They have a sense of quality through, you know, Qualmark and the likes that we do. We're spending a lot more money promoting not only just New Zealand, so we put an extra 150 odd million in, but part of the fund of that 150 million can be matched. So your local tourism authority can join with us and do a joint marketing campaign, or Air New Zealand can join with us and do a marketing campaign where they support flying to one particular part of New Zealand, for instance. So there's quite a bit we can do.
Now, getting a bit Women's Magazine. In your time as the Prime Minister, you have had to deal with the Christchurch earthquake, the Rena, the Kim.com issue. It has been quite a lot to deal with for a Prime Minister. I mean, how do you deal with that stress, that time management?
Time management's difficult because, yeah, by definition, there's only 24 hours in a day and you've got to get a little bit of sleep. And, you know, we have 2 children and I have a wife, so, you know, you've got to spend some family time. But in reality, you're always going to be busy over that time. Secondly, one of the things is I don't worry about it too much, in so much that I'm quite good at you know, taking a bit on the chin. I don't spend ages dwelling on bad stuff that's written about me or said about me or things that aren't true, of which there is a great number. But my experience of New Zealanders is they're extremely good at sort of filtering through all that. Those who don't like me, when they see that stuff, will like me a bit less. Those who do like me will say, well, it's probably not true anyway. They happen to be right, but anyway, that's life. And if I worried about it too much, I actually wouldn't get on with the job, because I've got a lot of things I need to do for New Zealand over not only the past 5 years I've been there, but hopefully, you know, the years to come in the future. So, yeah, look, we do family things. I go and play a bit of golf. I find that, well, sometimes that's relaxing, but that's just frustration sometimes in a different area. I make sure we take family holidays. Our daughter just came back. She's at university in Paris at the moment, so we took a family holiday for a few days together. You know, I take Brona out for dinner when I can. You just do normal things, really.
You enjoy being Prime Minister then?
Yeah, it's great. Look, I'm the 38th Prime Minister of New Zealand, so you can get up any day of the week and turn on the radio, watch TV or read the paper, and there's bound to be a bit of stuff that's aimed, directly at my forehead and may not even necessarily be that pleasant or nice. Okay, fair enough. But on the other side of the coin, the test of a Prime Minister really, of whether they're really good or not, is did they leave New Zealand in better shape than they found it? Now, that's a subjective test. Some people would say yes, some people would say absolutely no. So in the end, it probably matters what I think in terms of myself, because in the end, everyone else will have a view for whatever reason. Do I think I've left New Zealand in better shape if I got hit by a bus this afternoon? Actually, the answer to that is yes at the moment. I'm not saying it's perfect, but for all the reasons you pointed out, there have been some very challenging conditions, everything from Christchurch earthquakes to global financial crisis. So for me, I could sit around feeling sorry for myself because the odd person has a crack at me. Well, they have a crack at every Prime Minister. That's the nature of the game, and if you kind of can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. But I'm also the 38th Prime Minister of New Zealand. That's given me huge opportunities to do things, see things, be involved in things. Every day I'm pretty much around the country. I see the very best of New Zealand, and it's a magnificent place with great people. So I, for one, when my time is up, and who knows when that will be, but when that day comes, I really hope I don't leave bitter and twisted like a lot of previous Prime Ministers or politicians have, because I've got nothing to feel bitter about. The New Zealand public have been extremely generous with me. They've given me a great opportunity. I hope I've lived up to their expectations. But in the end, I've done my best. That's all I can say.
So you will be definitely standing again?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to run in 2014. I hope we get there. It's going to be a big fight. It's tough, it's really tough as the time goes on, and MMP makes it tough. But they want us back. They'll have to vote for us.
Just ahead, monitoring recreational fishing. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. Scientists are starting to get a better picture of how recreational fisheries change over time, thanks to a few web cameras and a bit of help from the public. NIWA scientists have installed 8 web cameras at boat ramps in the Upper North Island and are about to install another 4 in the Lower North Island as part of an ongoing project to monitor trends in recreational fishing effort over the long term.
So what will these cameras do and how will they work?
So the cameras are part of an integrated system we have for monitoring and assessing recreational fisheries catch. They're not part of the assessment of what we might catch, what the recreational fishers might catch in a particular year. They're more to assess between the years what are the changes in the overall level of recreational fishing. So once every 5 years or so, we spend a huge lot of money and make good estimates of the catch, and we use these cameras to monitor the in-between years to work out the changes in the level.
How will recreational fishers be held accountable for their catches?
Well, of course, they've always been accountable for their catches, but these cameras have nothing to do with that. By and large, we use fishery officers to interview recreational fishers, and if you've got more than the bag limit or fish undersized, then you'll be held accountable for that. So that's not going to change, but we don't use the cameras for that.
How supportive are the public of the research being done?
So far, they've been very supportive indeed. So all of our surveys rely on the participation and cooperation of the public, and we have very high response rates and very low rates of people refusing to answer questions or provide their fish to be measured. So on the whole, the public's been extremely receptive to what we're trying to do.
So how did we get to this point of having to monitor fishing so much? Is this sort of damage control?
No, it's not damage control at all. We've been trying to understand recreational catch for quite a lot of years, actually. I've personally been working on it for just on 20 years now. It's more important in some fisheries than other. Snapper is a particularly important recreational fishery, especially in the north of New Zealand. We've had several tries at getting the catch estimation right, trying to understand the dynamics of the fishery and how it changes between years. And this time we think we've got it really right. After working on it for 20 years, we think we've really nailed it.
Do you think that there are enough cameras around New Zealand at the moment to sort of make sure that people aren't in breach of fishing quotas?
The cameras thing is still a developing technology, so we've had some in place for about 5 or 6 years now, and they're starting to generate really useful information on the differences between years. The more data you get, the more useful and the more of the trends you can identify. But so far we've only used cameras in pretty much the north of the North Island, and it's a technology that we think we might spin out to more areas in time.
And what sort of outstanding work is still to be done on this project in the future?
So I like to see the project wider than the cameras, so what we like to do is estimate the catch every 5 years in a really solid way, and we hope to do that again in perhaps 5 years from now. The cameras are another matter, so we'd like to extend the cameras to some other areas so we can continue to monitor the differences between years. But we think it's really important to see the thing as a whole system. So we've got the big years when we spend a lot of money and we get really good estimates of catch and bag size and stuff like that. And then in between, we just get the long run monitoring. There's plenty of work still to be done.
Will this quota be in place indefinitely, or just until we can sort of rebuild the stock to that 40% level?
So the Ministry's consulting at the moment on changes to the management regime for snapper. That includes the bag limits for recreational fishers, the size limits, the total allowable commercial catch, things like that. If people want to make submissions on those, then it's really easily available on our website. There's a link on the homepage, the MPR website. There isn't much time left. I think the closing date is 23rd of August, so that's Friday, I believe.
Can you tell us some of the sorts of things that have been showcased at the International Marine and Freshwater Sciences Conference this week?
Been the whole range of marine and freshwater sciences, effects of aquaculture. There's been a long session on whitebait, iconic thing for New Zealand, snapper fisheries, another iconic thing, deep water and high seas fisheries. There's been everything. Something for everybody, you might say.
So how would you say that New Zealand is placed when it comes to catch estimates compared with the rest of the world?
I'm glad you asked that, Harriet, because we're right up there. Like everybody else in the world, we had several false starts on this sort of science, but the last time we got badly bitten in about 2000, we decided that next time we're going to do it properly. So we spent actually about 4 or 5 years going through the tests and the design phase to try and get a survey, or a suite of surveys actually, that works well. And we applied that methodology to generate the catch estimates that we're using now. We had the whole thing internationally reviewed just a couple of months ago, and the reviewers were really, really happy with it. They think it's the best in the world. So we're right up there. It's right at the forefront as far as this sort of science goes.
The project, funded by the Ministry for Primary Industries, was showcased at an International Marine and Freshwater Sciences Conference in Hamilton. That is the news for today and this week. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook, let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back next week with more guests from in and around our regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening and a fantastic weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.